What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to our player ratings video here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have been beaten on penalty kicks 4-1 by Paris Saint-Germain. Congratulations to them. They booked their place in the quarter-final of this season's Champions League. For us, well, lessons are going to have to be learned. Squad's going to have to be deepened. And of course, we're going to have an eye on the Carabao Cup final coming up on Sunday. We'll give you the latest news on Trent and Ibrahima Konate tomorrow when we get it. But until then, let's go through, give the referee, the substitutes, the players and our coach all a score out of 10. As always, you're going to see two images. The one in the upper right hand corner is the average Anfield Agenda viewer score, and the large square in the centre will be my score. We wouldn't be here today though without the support of our incredible sponsors Manscaped. Why not check out the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra from Manscaped, the all-in-one men's grooming kit featuring the Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker Ear and Nose Hair Trimmer, Manscaped's 2 liquid formulations and a couple of free gifts as well, the Shed Travel Bag and the Boxer Briefs can all be yours with 20% off and free shipping by using our code ANFIELD20 at checkout or by scanning the QR code. Right, referee, I mean, look, he was terrible. You know he was terrible. I know he was terrible. I'm not trying to use him as an excuse as to why we went out. We missed loads of chances, but he wasn't a very good referee. I'm not using it as an excuse, as I said, because I want to congratulate our opponents. I thought they probably shaded it over the two legs and deserved their place, but that referee doesn't belong at this level. So I have given him a score of 5, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone even lower with an average score there of 3.5. There was, of course, some controversy around the lack of a penalty shout for Szoboszlai, and I'd still love to see the automated offside technology show us a replay of PSG's goal. But that being said, we were our own worst enemies there today, but the referee, terrible. Next up, Allison Becker, who can certainly hold his head high over the two legs, performed heroics again tonight when called upon. Very unlucky to concede the goal the way that we did, but of course there was the question about him and Konate again coming together and nobody giving a shout. It is heartbreaking, but Allison, I thought, performed very well over the two legs. So I am going to give him a score of 8. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone slight bit lower with a 7.4. Next up, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And of course, we wish Trent a speedy recovery, or hopefully no recovery needed, and he'll be back training. But it looked like he was going to be out for a little while. And I'm sure he's going to be, well, a doubt for the League Cup final tonight. I thought he was really good when he was on the pitch. Much better defensively, much better in possession. I don't really have too many negative things to say about the starting 11 other than a couple of attackers. So Trent, I think, can hold his head high. You could see how upset he was going off. I'm going to give him a score of 7.5, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for an average score of 6.9. Always heartbreaking doing these player ratings after an exit like that, and I'll be honest with you folks, my head's gone at the minute. I'm all over the place mentally, but we'll keep going. Ibrahima Konate, who of course went off with what looked like cramp, which could be a good sign ahead of the weekend. But of course, you know, you never want to see a player like that going off. Unlucky again, the communication between him and Allison Becker. But for the ball to just break the way it did for Ousmane Dembele, I mean, must have been difficult for the defenders to be standing there looking at it. But Konate, I'm going to give a 7 to, and the audience have gone for a 6.6. Next up, captain Virgil van Dijk. Again, I thought he did well, played some lovely raking balls, defended well, limited PSG to a couple of chances. Tonight, I thought we played far, far better than we did over in Paris, and I thought I thought VVD led admirably. So I think I'm going to give him a score of 7.5 tonight, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a score of just 7. Again, excuse me if I do feel a little bit all over the place. It's been a mentally draining day, and I'm just trying to make sure that I can get through this without making too many mistakes. Next up, Andy Robertson. I thought that was a good performance from Robbo. I don't have any complaints about the back five in all honesty, and I thought Andy Robertson looked like he was back to himself there tonight. Yes, maybe a little bit more with the final ball or whatever, but energy-wise, I thought Robbo put in a good performance, so I've given him a 7, and the Anfield Agenda audience have got a little bit lower with an average score of 6.8. Now we move into midfield, where I was really impressed tonight. Really, really was. I thought the three boys absolutely ran themselves into the ground, put in a tremendous shift. Gravenberch was, he had his pocket picked once or twice, but again, I thought it was an admirable performance from the three boys. So, going to give a 7 to Ryan Gravenberch. This is a difficult one because I'm doing these player ratings. We lost the game 1-0. We went out on penalties overall. but I don't feel like it was a poor performance, and I'm trying to reflect that in the scores. So the Anfield Agenda audience, by the way, is 6.3 there for Gravenberch. Now we move into Alexis Mac Allister, who I thought quite simply was amazing. Absolutely phenomenal. Worked the socks off today, ran himself into the ground, did everything possible. I thought it was a brilliant performance, so I've given him an 8.5. He would have been my man of the match, along with Szoboszlai and Allison Becker. So yeah, an 8.5 for me. For Macca, I thought he was sublime. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone a bit lower with a score of 7. Do let us know in the comment section what your thinking is. Dominik Szoboszlai. You could see he was devastated to be taken off by Arne Slot. And if there's one thing today I will be speaking about in the negative respect towards the manager, is the choice of substitutions and the lack of impact that they had. But Dom couldn't have done much more out there today. Yes, sometimes we're a little bit loose. We may hang on to the ball occasionally a bit too long in the final third. But again, the work rate on display from Dom was exceptional. And I think that needs to be reflected in the score, which for me is an 8. And the Anfield Agenda audience is a 7.4. Right, before we move on to the forward line, I just want to again let you guys know our end of season party is happening 3 days after the final game of the season, 28th of May at the Hot Water Comedy Club in Liverpool. You can get your tickets with the link in the description of this stream. We're going to celebrate and hopefully it'll be a double, but we'd love to see you there, and you can get your tickets priced at just £20. Right, we move on. Mohamed Salah. Now look, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And people are going to be upset and people are going to be agreeing or whatever. But I got to be honest, this score tonight reflects the performance tonight, and he was terrible. I can't say any more honestly than that. Doesn't mean he hasn't been brilliant this season. Doesn't mean he isn't an absolute superhero. But tonight he was absolutely invisible, and the decision making wasn't there. The execution of his shots wasn't there. He should have had 2 probably in the first 10 minutes. I got to be honest about it. I thought he was a passenger in that game tonight, and that's going to be reflected with my score, which is a 5. And the Anfield Agenda audience similarly thinking along the same lines with a score there of 5.2 for Mohamed Salah. Now we move on to Luis Diaz, who is probably the only one of the front 3 for me that can take any positives out of that. But even at that, probably still wanted a bit more from him. And it is always difficult to talk about us not having enough in attack, because more often than not, that attack doesn't let us down. But over the 2 legs, to score 1 goal, that scored by a substitute, Harvey Elliott, you're not going to go through a knockout stage football with 1 goal over 2 legs, and particularly when you come back to Anfield with a lead and not manage to find a way through. But Diaz did work tirelessly there tonight. So I've given him a 7. And the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit lower with a score of 6.6. But do let us know your thoughts on Lucho in the comment section. Diogo Jota. I mean, it was a real surprise to see him chosen tonight, because it's not like he's been in good form. He's been speaking about it himself, and that form was only carried through tonight. He looked like he was half a yard behind everybody else. Never looked a threat. Never looked likely to get in behind. Just a terrible, terrible performance. And I take no pleasure in saying it, but him and Mo were passengers there tonight. And I've given him a score of 4. And the Anfield Agenda audience, who scores, by the way, I don't know before we record these videos, have gone for a 4.2. Now we move on to Mr. Darwin Nunez. And look, let's say one thing. I will never, ever, ever go in on anybody who steps up to take a penalty in a penalty shootout. It takes courage to do it. And I thought his penalty was certainly better than Jones, but you know, you've got to question the decision to let him take a penalty. He didn't look like he was full of confidence out there. He had a chance to shoot at one point and turned back in. Looked like he hadn't got the confidence to get the shot away. So to see him step up to take a penalty was a surprise, but he did put his hand up and go to take it. All in all, though, he didn't really do much when it came on, did he, if we're being honest? So I'm going to give him a 5.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience think I'm being far too kind, and I've gone for a 4.1. Next up, Jarell Quansah. I think he did okay coming on to replace Trent at right back. Obviously, he had a header that hit the post as well, and you know, did get himself forward. So fair play to Jarell on that one. I think as the season's gone on, you can see his confidence starting to show again, and hope he can continue that, because he could well be starting in the League Cup final. So for Jarell, I've given him a 7 from the bench, which I think is fully deserving, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 6.6. Curtis Jones, who, you know, I would have started, but I don't think really gave us much when he came on. It was like the substitutions that Arne made watered us down, and it looked like we just got a poorer version of Dominik Szoboszlai, when Jones came on. Again, the penalty wasn't great either, but I'll never go in on anyone for missing a penalty because it can happen to anyone. But on his performance, solely based off what we've seen on the pitch, that wasn't one of Curtis Jones' better evenings. And again, I take no pleasure in saying this, but all of those changes just weakened us instead of strengthened us, and that needs to be addressed in the summer. So Jones, for me, gets a 6, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone even lower with an average score of just 4.8 for Curtis. Now we move on to Cody Gakpo. He just doesn't look fit, does he? To see Federico sitting on the bench, and whether we're talking about whether Slot trusts him or not, you could see Cody Gakpo wasn't fit tonight. He wasn't able to run back. He wasn't even on the pitch all that long. It couldn't have been fatigue. So it was the fact that he wasn't fit. And he just got a question, why are we paying someone 7 million quid a year to sit on the bench and have a really expensive season ticket basically in Chiesa? So wrong decision to bring on Cody Gakpo because, again, not going in on Cody, he just didn't look fit. So I've given him a 3 because did he do anything? He just we played with a player down. And again, that's not on Cody. The manager brought him on and he just wasn't fit. You could see it. The audience have gone for 4.6. Harvey Elliott, another one who's probably maybe running out of chances under this manager. Again, got a chance to come on today, and like most of our substitutes, certainly didn't take us forward in the game and didn't improve us. We looked more leggy, unbelievably. So I got to reflect that on the score and give Harvey a 5, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 5.1. Next up, Endo, who came on, did a job admirably, defended deeply as we had to because it looked like it was PSG was only trying to win that game in extra time, and I thought Endo, as always does, came in and played the professional part, so well done to him. I've given him a 6, and the audience have gone for a 5.9. And lastly, our coach, who got it wrong. We love him, he's going to win a league title, he may win a cup, but he got it wrong. The selection of Jota was wrong. The substitutions were wrong. He left it too long to make changes. And, that's my honest opinion on it. It doesn't mean I don't rate the coach, but we have to be clear here. He does not have a squad that he trusts. And that's down to a lack of investment from the owners. So we got to see that sorted in the summer. We're again going in with 14, 15 players every week that he trusts, if even that. And today, again, I thought he left it too late. So I'm going to go with a 5 for Arne Slot, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 4.8. So that is it for the player ratings, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of our Champions League campaign for this season. Of course, we'll be live tomorrow, or maybe we won't, but we'll certainly be putting out content tomorrow, and we hope to see you then. Again, thank you to everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you to our sponsors, Manscaped. Congratulations to our opponents, Paris Saint-Germain, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but we go again for the League Cup final on Sunday. Much love, my friends. Bye-bye.